Hi gamers, how are you? Today I have news for you. As many of you may know, I love Sega, but I never played Shenmue, until now, because I just finished Shenmue 1 and 2 for the PlayStation 4, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts and what I think about both games. Before we start, let me just say why I never played Shenmue before. I only bought the Dreamcast in 2004 or 2005, and I bought some games, such as Grandia 2, Street Fighter 3, Third Strike, Rival Schools, Resident Evil 2, 3 and Code Veronica, and over the years I bought a few more. So why I didn't bought Shenmue? To be honestly, I played a few times in one of my best friend's house, but I found the game slow with very little action, and over the years I never bought the game because also there wasn't any certain. No one knows if we are going to have Shenmue 3, and playing a game and stay with the story in the middle, it wasn't for me. Yet, with the HD release for the PlayStation 4 and the announcement of Shenmue 3, I was very excited to play this franchise. Some players say the game is outdated, others say that it's nostalgic, and for many it's a masterpiece. So let's see what I think about it. First, let's start with the graphics. This PlayStation 4 port is a remaster, not a remake. But in my opinion, the graphics are still very good and holds very well the test of time. Of course we can compare with the game for the current generation, but the animations, the involvement, the facial expressions are very good. We can see the emotions in the character just by looking at them. I'm a player that don't care much about graphics. I care more and give more value to the story, gameplay and music any day. But despite the game being more than 20 years old, the graphics still surprise me. And I love the involvement, because I love the 80s. And this game was a time travel for me. No cell phones, no internet, the old telephones in the houses and the telephone books in the streets, the notebooks, and the most important and nostalgic for me, the arcade saloons. Taking place in Japan, and see the Japanese culture, even in simple things like taking off the shoes when we enter the house, the streets, the stores at the beginning of my journey. It was those little things that got me into the game. And that's when the game starts to grab me. The music fits the game very well. One of the composers is Yuzo Koshiro. That is one of my favorite composers ever. And if we talk about the most important, the gameplay. Again, for the second time, my first impressions were not good. A lot of walking, talking. At the time I found a clue to proceed in the game, the day was over and I had to go back to my house and sleep. And I thought to myself, this is so boring. Then I saved the game and turned off my PlayStation 4. And I'm going to be honest, I was going to give up on the game. At the time I was in the very beginning, in the part where Tom from the hot dog truck said to Ryo to try to find Chinese people. And at night, just before I go to sleep, I was lying in my bed and I was thinking where the hell I'm going to find some Chinese people. And I give the game a second try in the morning. And after playing a few more hours, I realized I was playing this game to see how it was and to finish it. And that's not the way we're supposed to play Shenmue. To play Shenmue, I have to enter in the character life. I had to explore the involvements. I have to become Ryo. And I felt that even more when it starts to work, waking up every morning, catch the bus to go to work, and use the breaks from work and the end of the workday to enjoy life, in this case to proceed in the game. And what I loved the most about this first game was that I also work in the warehouse, and I also drive forklifts. I got to the point that I was so into the game that I didn't even care if I was advancing in the story or not. Also, before the workday starts, we do a forklift race. Doing an activity with our coworkers is very common in Japan, to unite the workers and to provide a good and healthy working environment. I like it doing that every time before start working with the forklift. Although I never finish in first place, I usually was third or fourth. The best I did was a second place, and it was only one time. About the fight scenes. The fight scenes we can cheat a little and run a little from the enemies to recover some health. The gameplay during the fight scenes is a little like Virtua Fighters 2, that was also made by Yu Suzuki. Talking about Virtua Fighters, the last boss in this game have exactly the same fight style and moves as Leon from Virtua Fighters 2. And in Shenmue 2, we also have some characters and bosses that have the same style and moves from Virtua Fighter. Just to name a few, Rod have the same fighting style and moves as Jeffrey, Greg as Wolf, Shuihan as Sarah, and Master Biao as Lau. In Shenmue 2, we move to Hong Kong, and the world is much bigger. But we never get lost, because contrary to the first game, when we ask someone to go to a place, that person takes us there. The game have huge but huge buildings, and introduces some new and great characters, such as Joy, Ren, and my favorite, Shu Yong-hong. And let me tell you, if I was Ryo, I just ask her to beat Lan-Di, because she beats the final boss and his crew in just seconds, and Ryo and Ren together don't even stand a chance. One thing that I also love in Shenmue 2 is that Ryo and Ren have a good chemistry together. Ren is a little the anti-hero. He pretends not to care about no one, but he cares about Ryo, Joy and others, and always end up helping them. Because the world is bigger, we not only find Shu Yong-hong, but we also find some other great masters that teach us new skills. We no longer practice to update our moves, but the fights gives a ton of experience. What I didn't like was the quick time events. They are so fast that it's almost impossible to do it. We must know the order of the buttons to hit at the right time, or we lose. And to know the order, sometimes we lose a lot. I also don't like some cutscenes that are repetitive, useless and boring. For example, when we enter the yellow building, before we go up, whenever we find a dead end, Ryo tells Ren it's a dead end. If we find a dead end 10 times, we heard and saw the same cutscene 10 times. The same happens near the end of the game, when we are climbing the building. Every time we find the stairs to go up to the next floor, the game stops and Ryo says to Ren something like, "Find it, let's go up," and Ren answers, "Let's hurry." And the building have 40 floors. But talking about the dialogues and this building, I love that the dialogues in both games are cheesy. I love that even in some old movies, Shenmue don't need good voice acting, as we see in Uncharted or Last of Us for example. Cheesy dialogues are part of the Shenmue magic. And about the building, it was one of my best experiences in my gaming life. We must fight, avoid enemies almost as we are playing a Metal Gear Solid game, run from the final boss, and even run from an enemy with a chainsaw, Resident Evil style. And when we think that we are going to fight the final boss, the game presents us a new enemy before we face the last boss. And again, if you think that the game ends in the final fight against the final boss, no. We still have to say goodbye to our friends before we go to Bailu village. In the way to the village we met Shenmue, that is the girl that appears in the first game in Ryu's dreams. We spent 2 hours with Shenmue, and it's not 2 hours in the game, it's 2 hours in real time. And we find what Shenmue is before we see the game ends. So, my final thoughts about both games. It's outdated? In some ways, yes. It's nostalgic? For those who play it in the release date, no doubt. It's a masterpiece? In my opinion, yes. It was one of my best gaming journeys ever. And for me, that played the game for the first time only a couple of weeks before I did this video, this is the proof that I love this franchise. I bought the 2 original games for the Dreamcast, and I also already bought Shenmue 3. I don't really know what kind of game Shenmue is. It's an open world, it's a RPG, action game. I don't really know, but one thing I know, this game strike my heart, and I regret not playing sooner and not have helped in the kickstart for Shenmue 3. But as I usually say, better late than never, and now I'm a Shenmue fan for life. So that's it gamers, I hope you like this video. I know it's a little longer than most of the videos that I usually do, but it was one of the videos that I liked the most. I hope you like it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.
りょう、
え、
あなたはどこから来たの？
俺か？
りょうはこの国の人じゃないでしょ？
ああ、俺は日本から来た。
日本？どこにあるの？
中国の東にある島国だ。
東の